Hi, Richard. Welcome to the Impact Revolution. It's a big pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time. And yes, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing very fine, even though it's a bit hot here in Spain at the moment.
Yes, you are in the Sierra, yeah, Miraflores, so it's a bit cooler. So hope you're enjoying that.
Yeah, it's a bit cool. It's about 5 degrees less, and there is a swimming pool. So it's after this interview, I'll jump into the swimming pool. So,
Definitely. Okay, I'm
yeah.
happy to hear that. Very good. To start with the interview, Richard, I would like to ask you just a couple of questions, personal questions, just to get to know you a bit more. And then later we can go straight to the business and more life focus questions.
All
So
right.
the first one will be how someone who admires you a lot and respects you and knows you very well will define who is Richard Benjamins.
Oh, that's a nasty question. So out of nothing, yeah.
Yes.
I would say an a collaborative person with a
Okay.
passion for certain things.
Okay. Great. Collaborative people with passion in certain sense. Okay. We will go back to that. Very good. Thank you. And another question, which is a bit maybe different, will be if you could wake up anywhere, Richard, tomorrow, where it will be.
Anyway, where would it be? I think it would be in one of the seven world miracles
Okay.
of the world.
Eh,
I've seen several, but not yet all of them.
okay.
So either from architecture or from nature as well.
All
So
right.
that depends. I haven't been in the Taj Mahal yet.
Taj Mahal. All right.
Not yet. Have not been yet in Machu Picchu in Peru.
Oh, me
So
neither. Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
great places with lots of history to understand what where we come from.
Definitely. Definitely. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And now, regarding your first answer, a collaborative patient with passion in sentences. What is your passion then, Richard?
Well, one of my passions, personal passions, is music, making music. I love playing the blues.
Okay.
I've did it all my life, and I probably will do it. On the more on the professional side, is my passion is to use technology for good. So not
Okay.
so much for business, but for to making the world a better place, or maybe a bit less worse place.
All right. I love that. And you are an expert in artificial intelligence, and you do this Odyssea AI or something like this, right? That is about the cultural ethics and uh, standards, I will say, about how to use in an effective way or sustainable way, I will say, AI in business in the world. And I'm very curious about this actually because this is something that is happening everywhere, and a lot of people I think are very afraid of what could happen, and we can see some impact already in people's life about how artificial intelligence is being used. I wanted to know what is your opinion about this, Richard?
Well, so the impact of artificial intelligence is already very big, and it will only increase, yeah, over time.
Yes.
It's currently is mostly there's an interest mostly because for commercial and business reasons, because it creates great opportunities to be more efficient, to save costs, to generate more revenues, to create new products.
Yes.
But we should not forget that some usages of this technology can also have negative impact, undesired impact, not so much intended. So it's not that people or companies want to do bad, but
Yes.
they have good intentions. But yeah, sometimes there are side effects. Yeah, and
Definitely.
so the observatory of the social and ethical impact of artificial intelligence is about how can we mitigate those undesired yet unintended consequences. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
you can
Uh-huh.
think about so one of the things that artificial intelligence can do is take decisions, based on a lot of information, based on a lot of data, using machine learning models. And depending on the impact that this decision has on people's lives, you need some kind of human intervention. Some things you can let can happen autonomously. For instance, if you watch a movie or you get a recommendation of an ad on your mobile, or you get a recommendation of a song in Spotify,
Yes.
there's definitely no human intervention. It's all fully autonomous and it's not needed. But if you
Yes.
go to a hospital and they diagnose you with a certain disease and they use for that artificial intelligence, then of course there should be a doctor in the loop, should be a human in the loop. You can't just let the machine take decisions. So that's
Yes.
one of the things that you have to take to think about in advance. Another thing you heard a lot about discrimination. Algorithms that are discriminating
Yes.
against people. Of course, discrimination is what algorithms do. And most discriminations in general is as a technical word is not a problem. You want to find those customers that are going to leave you. And there are lots of
Yes.
you want to discriminate between the customers that are good for you and the customers that are not good for you. But if this discrimination is also based on factors such as age or gender or race or political conviction, then this is not allowed. So that's an undesired or even an
Definitely.
illegal discrimination. And what we want to do is educate businesses and organizations that they think about those problems in advance, and before they come to the market, they mitigate those issues. So once things are on the market, then things, well, at least are under control. And there are no surprises. If you look at today's situation, usually it's a culture of sorry. If something goes wrong, they say, sorry, we messed up. We will not do it again.
Yes.
But please keep on trusting us. That happens a lot with very new technology, but if this technology becomes massively used, then you can't say sorry all the time. You have to
Definitely.
think in advance. So that's one of the main things that we want to achieve, and also educate normal people, because this is complex technology, but you can explain it in an easy way. And that's very important because in general, citizens, when they use all kinds of digital services on their mobile, on their laptops or wherever, they just want to have everything as easy as possible, and they accept all kinds of conditions. So I think customers and consumers and citizens should be more responsible when they decide what to use and what not, and be aware of how their information and data is used by those companies or even by other companies.
Yes. Yes, sure, because people are accepting the terms and conditions without even reading them, and they are not, or we are not really fully aware of everything that can be used in the background
That's
for
right.
our benefit or for our not benefit. So for the
Indeed.
benefit of the companies. Very interesting. All right. I just wanted to see if there is any example that you could share with us of how you are mitigating these biggest, unintended consequences that you've been talking about regarding AI.
Yeah, so the main tool that we use and advocate, both internally in the company where I work, Telefonica, but also we share it with lots of other organizations,
Yes.
is to apply a methodology called the responsible use of artificial intelligence by design. And that means that before you buy or develop or build a system, you ask yourself certain questions. And those questions help you to understand whether there might be an unintended negative consequence, and if so, what you can do about it to mitigate. Take, for example, if you want to do an application for a loan assignment, so if you want to provide a financial service to citizens, you can use all kinds of data to decide what kind of interest rate and what's the risk of a customer defaulting on the loans. That means not paying it back when he or she should.
Yes.
And usually a lot of data is used. Yeah, banks have, and other companies that provide financial service have lots of information
Yes.
that they try to analyze, and they try to predict whether a person is going to default or not.
Yes.
Now, what you have to do if you want to build such a system with artificial intelligence, you want to train a model using historical data to see what happens with new customers. Yeah.
Mm.
For doing that, what you have
I we lost Richard.
for,
Hi,
I
you
think
were lost, Richard.
I
It's
was,
okay.
I, yeah, I was lost a
Don't
little bit. Yeah.
don't worry. Yes, sorry. So you were saying?
Where was I? By
Yes,
the example.
yes. The example, yeah, about the financial and the banks, yeah, that they
Yeah.
wanted the new customers. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So first thing you have to do is the data you use to train the algorithm to predict future new customers, whether this data is representative of your customers. Yeah. For instance,
Mm.
if you train your model with data from São Paulo, yeah, and
Yeah,
then you apply the model in Fortaleza, maybe the model
it
doesn't
doesn't work.
work
Yes.
completely correct. Yeah. So at least you should be aware of that and do some tests to check that. Yeah. Another thing that you should check whether you are not using any sensitive variables such as race or skin color
Uh-huh.
or
Mm.
gender,
Oh, the
because that's
names, yeah,
yeah
that sometimes
that's not
happen.
allowed. That's not allowed to use either.
All right.
So you can take certain steps in advance so that you simulate what could happen and take technical measures or business decisions to make sure that whenever something happens, it's not a surprise to you.
Definitely. Okay, great. And which one do you think is the most impactful of those questions? Or is there any favorite of yours that maybe people or businesses are not so aware?
I think the most well known is about discrimination. So
Mm,
it's using certain variables, attributes of people that you should not use. But another very well-known aspect is black box algorithms. So
black box.
sometimes, yeah, so these some algorithms are very complex and very hard to understand how they come to a decision. And if you don't understand where the decision comes from, for instance, this person has a serious disease. Of course,
Uh-huh.
if a doctor does not understand why a machine tells him or her that, then he cannot or she cannot do anything with it. Yeah, because it's a
Interesting.
very impactful decision. So in those
Sure.
cases, you have to break open a black box and turn it into a white box that is inspectionable and can be understood.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is really interesting. And this is something a bit personal, okay? And well, it's my kind of point of view, and also, following the. I'm sure you know this. Social media and how do you call in no documentary that they did in Netflix about
Oh yeah,
I'm not sure the name right now. Do you remember,
the
Richard?
social dilemma.
Yeah, the social dilemma. So that basically says that artificial intelligence is creating an avatar of us, and then is fighting for attention of us, and basically is making addicted to people. In terms of well, I think you know also about the cognitive science, and
Mhm.
you are very expert on that field as well. So, what is your opinion about how that is affecting the global population, AI, and what can we do in order
So I
to
think
mitigate that?
indeed this is a serious problem,
Yes,
uh, but it's not so much a problem of artificial intelligence. It's a problem of the people who
the culture,
decide
right?
to use it for certain things. Yeah,
Yes.
and in that respect, of course, this is a very powerful technology. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
indeed can profile people even better than the people themselves probably can do. uh,
Uh-huh.
Take into account that most of the time people have given their permission to do that, even though they are not aware. Yeah?
Yes,
of this.
we
So
talk about this.
this is one responsibility also of citizens that they do not take seriously
Yes.
enough.
Definitely.
But then if you look at the business model of those companies, it's all about engaging users. Yeah, the more you engage people, the more attention you get of people, the more money they make. Yeah,
That's
because
right.
they
That's
sell
right.
ads or, and if there is no break on that, and if the only thing that counts is profit, then it drives the use of this technology in the directions we are seeing. Yeah, and it's not only about, it's also about polarization. Yeah, because those algorithms, they recommend what you want. Yeah, because they learn what you like, and
Yes.
therefore they give you more of the same, because then you click more and you engage more, so the company earns more money.
Uh-huh.
However, if people only look at what they want to see, they forget a little. They forget about what else, what other opinions are there, what other perspectives are there, and that creates a polarization of society, and we've seen that in democratic elections. Yeah. So if it's a very tie race, then those kinds of applications may make the difference, and that is something that I think society should not allow. But the problem is the business model. Yeah, and companies. I mean, companies should not, once they reach a certain level of profitability, they should not only optimize for profit, but also for what they call ESG, yeah, for the planet, for social things in general,
And
for the
governance, yeah.
for the greater good, yeah, what they call the
Yes.
stakeholder management.
And for sustainability, right? Sustainability of business and people lives as well, and people's, let's say, satisfaction or happiness. Or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very interesting. And so, is this something that you also touch on in this Odyssea IA? I was saying AI because in English, but
Yeah,
it's
so
in
actually, Odyssea is it's a kind of game on the name, yeah, because it's
uh,
the initials of the Spanish name. So it's Odyssea, and that's EA means intelligence artificial. Yeah, that's if
yes,
you think of it. Yeah,
in Spanish. Yeah, I managed.
and
Okay.
it's a very good name in Spanish, but internationally speaking, it's very hard. Yeah,
A
very hard
bit,
to
but
explain.
it's fine.
But indeed, so the goal of Odyssea is actually to educate businesses, to educate governments, and to educate civil society to become more literate in those kinds of technologies. Yeah?
Hmm.
Companies to use it, and also to use it to optimize their business, but also to use this technology for good purposes, to end
Hmm.
hunger, or to fight climate change, or to fight against inequality. So you can use
Yes,
this technology also for those kinds of things. And unfortunately, we see that only a little bit, yeah?
yes, yes.
Because there is not so much profit to make
Yeah, unfortunately,
for those applications as there is from
for now.
for other
Yes,
things. Yeah. Sometimes it's a pity to see that, let's say, the brightest people in the world, yeah, the best
yes,
scientists in the world, are working on getting young people hooked on screens. Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
they should actually work on the hardest problems in the world.
Uh-huh,
Uh,
uh-huh.
but that's the world we are living in today, and
Definitely.
we have to deal with it.
Okay. And now that we discuss about, I think this is very important topic because I think there is a lot of issues going on with the social media and how people are abusing, and also the companies that are running are these big corporations are also having only, well, it seems like they have only one aim, which is the financial gain based on our attention. So how do you think AI could be better used in these cases, in your opinion, Richard, for being more sustainable?
Well, I mean, if you speak about sustainability in terms of humanity.
Human behavior, yeah,
Yeah.
human behavior and happiness and satisfaction, because social media, I think, is not making anyone more happy. I think it's actually making it
Well,
worse in many cases.
I think we should not forget that social media, one of the great inventions of the
Also,
last
yes,
20 years, because they make us do things that we hardly couldn't do. Yeah. So you are broadcasting this on LinkedIn. You're reaching
definitely,
lots of people. Yeah. That's social
definitely,
media. Uh, what would be the world? Your communication with your family if you live abroad without WhatsApp. You can even make
yes,
calls for free. Otherwise, you couldn't. So
definitely,
it's not that. I mean, they are great products, and that's why they're so big. Yeah?
definitely,
If they were
definitely.
lousy, if they wouldn't add any value, then of course nobody would use them, and then we wouldn't have this problem. So
Uh-huh.
it's a problem that comes with the big success, yeah, of those products, and I think that earns a lot of that deserves a lot of merit. Yeah, it's not
Uh-huh.
easy to build a company from nothing, yeah, to a company that serves
A multi-billionaire, yeah.
billions of people. But then at a certain stage, a company becomes so big that instead of only thinking about its shareholders and its business, it has also a societal responsibility, a responsibility to society. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if a company the company detects some negative side effects of its product, then it should act. And if it doesn't act, it should act out of responsibility reasons. But if it doesn't, then regulation should step in.
Definitely.
And I think we are exactly at that point in time in history where some companies or some countries or international governments try to regulate some of the, let's say, the extreme consequences of technology. If you
Mm-hmm.
take, for instance, one of the things that happens a lot in social media is this over recommendation. Yeah, so the recommendation is so good that it captures people's attention completely. Now, in China, they adopted a regulation where companies have to provide the users with a way to switch off this recommendation. So imagine you can use Netflix or Facebook and say, no, I don't want to have any recommendation. If something
Uh,
comes to me, it's just random. And
okay.
by law, yeah. Um, and also some companies, if they do recommendations, they say, okay, about 20% of the recommendations are random. They're not
Uh-huh.
based on profile or whatever. So those are things that companies could do, yeah, if they wanted, and some of them do.
Yes.
But not all of them do, because it has an impact in
On
revenues.
money. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Sure. All right. Very interesting. I think we can leave this AI because I could talk and ask you many questions because I'm very interested on this and how we can use it to improve people's life and businesses. And yeah, I just wanted to ask you about your biggest lesson learned, would you say, Richard, in business and maybe in life as well?
The biggest lesson learned.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think if you think about a business in a large organization,
Yes.
it is always try to help others to
Try to help
become
others.
better,
Okay.
and don't try to become better yourself. Yeah?
Okay.
It's all about credit. Yeah, so a lot of people, uh, when they do things, they want to have credit for that. And if you pursue credit, then I think that's not a good strategy. If you deserve credit, it will come at one point or another. And if it doesn't come, at least you feel you have done a great job, and that should be enough. But if you want to have your recognition for your own work all the time, then I think that's not it's not an easy strategy.
All right. That's very in line with what someone who admires you will say, that you are a collaborative person. Yeah. I like that. And
Probably.
you empower people to grow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. What about life? Biggest lesson learned? What would you say, Richard?
Biggest life about lesson. I think be aware of context we are living in, yeah, both from a health perspective for yourself. So be aware of living a healthy life, and
Uh-huh.
also in terms of climate, yeah, in terms of the environment that we live in.
Mhm.
I would say one of the things that I've always learned throughout my life is more is better.
Uh-huh.
And I think we are now at a stage where
Less is more.
more is not always better. Yeah.
No, definitely, yes. I'm more of a simplicity mindset kind of thing, and I think less is more, and it gives us more freedom, in my view. Yeah.
And it gives more responsibility. Yeah. So
Yes.
imagine when before the pandemic, I think we everybody learned a lot of pandemic. Before the pandemic, it means every year you need to buy new clothes, yeah,
Yes.
because the fashion changes. I have an
Uh-huh.
anecdote. I went in the pandemics. I went to a shop and I wanted to have a new suit,
All right.
uh, and they told me, no, we don't sell suits anymore because nobody needs them. Everybody works at home, so
That's
and so
funny.
and that's one thing. So because usually you think, okay, well, this suit I already have it for 3 or 4 years, so I need a new one. Even
Uh-huh.
it's yeah. So it's
Okay.
not always that you need to have new things and more things.
Definitely,
Sometimes
definitely.
just yeah.
Yeah, I think the pandemic make us understood or understand, well, at least for me, that we don't need so many things, and actually we can be better with less things, and sometimes, yeah, we are fine with that. Very good. I wanted to go back to this collaborative mindset that you have, and wanted to know. Why? What is the reason that you like or you think you feel like doing this, Richard?
I don't know. I think it's just something I've learned through the years. As I said in the beginning, I play music. I play in a band. A
Ah,
band
okay.
is all about collaboration. Yeah? It's all about working
Yes.
together, but with very different mindsets and different profiles. So I think the strength is of people collaborating
Very
is one
nice
of the beautiful
example.
things. It's not for nothing that so if you look at all the animals in the world, yeah, humanity stands out because it has learned to coordinate and collaborate through language. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
And also there is a saying that say if you want to go fast, go alone. Yeah? If you want to go far,
Go
go
together.
together.
I love it. Yeah,
And
that's
I think that's very important.
very important. I totally agree, Richard. I love this collaboration mindset as well. And I think the biggest achievements in history and in life and in business have been because of collaboration of a lot of people, for sure. Okay, we are almost at the end of the interview, and wanted to ask you, regarding collaborative, you say you learn through the years, yeah, and I always like mentors, yeah, and I think mentors have changed my life, and I also trying to change other people's life through coaching and mentoring. And I wanted to ask you, Richard, which is the first, or maybe you have few mentors that have had major impact in your life, and how they did it.
I mean, mentors. Actually, don't know. I think my parents were my mentor,
All
and
right, your parents.
some of my good friends.
Okay.
But then, of course, there are also people who inspire. Yeah,
Yes.
and these tend to be more well-known people. So I think I've been always inspired by the Beatles and Paul
The Beatles.
McCartney. Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Nice.
I,
Cool.
I think they invented all the music there is, and what we
Uh-huh.
hear today is all variations on what they did.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Nelson Mandela is also one
Uh,
of my great inspirations.
uh-huh.
Uh, of course, I'm not even close, yeah, to, but it really inspires and what a person can endure and what he or she can achieve
Yes.
under very tough conditions.
the resilient mindset that comes from
Yes.
him. Yes, it's incredible. Sure. Thank you for sharing that. And just that's the last question, just because we are at the end of the interview, Richard, will be what is the last impactful message that would you leave to startups, entrepreneurs in this moment for them to be successful?
Um, try to learn. Try to learn what your customers need and want by capturing a lot of data and listen to that data to take your decisions if you are in the good direction or not. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
you have to combine two aspects as an entrepreneur. First, you need to be stubborn because you need to follow your idea, your mission. But on the other hand, you need to be able to change if it really doesn't work. Yeah, but you can't change every day
Yes.
because people tell you. So you should find the balance between
Stubborn and
listening,
change.
yeah, being stubborn and be open to change. Yeah, and
Yeah. Be
that's the hard
flexible.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Be agile. Being agile. All
but
right.
this
Yes.
technology we're talking about can help you to achieve
Definitely.
that.
Definitely. No, I think automation and data analytics and all this is definitely helpful nowadays, and it makes everybody easier to take risks and easier to make tests and more quick, let's
Mhm.
say, changes or flexibility or adaptability. Thank you so much, Richard. It's been a pleasure. It's the end of the interview. It was a pleasure. We could talk for hours, really. You are a very interesting
Yeah.
person and very knowledgeable. Thank you so much. Is there any last words that we would like to share?
No, just thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you all for listening,
Uh,
and I hope you have a good, at least here if you're in the north part, summer.
yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Good luck to everybody as well. Thank you, Richard, and talk to you
Yeah.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye. Ciao.